and you're completely detached from the emotional outcome of it because you're not placing money on the end of that in the beginning. And by you understanding and recording your observations about yourself, the negative response, the euphoric, I'm really better than I really thought I was, you need to guard that. Both perspectives, the extremes. You don't think that everything's going to be a failure, and you don't think that you're better than everything else. Like you're not the cock of the walk, the best of the best, and you're not the worst of the worst. And you got to find where those parameters are, where it's balanced. And you can only do that by recording experiences, getting a baseline of this is what you thought I was going to do, and this is the outcome. How do you feel? Did you feel any emotional tug of war in that transaction? And if you do, you need to research that. What is the reason why you felt adversity? Why did you feel anxious? Even in a demo, even in a tape reading session, what are you wrestling with at the time? And what do I mean by that? What are you dealing with in your personal life? Are you having a problem in your job? Are you sick? Are you fighting a physical ailment? Are you without a job? Did you lose a job? Are you potentially going to lose your job? Are you having a marital spat? Are you going through a divorce? Is your children becoming problematic? All those things are going to manifest in your decision making. And it's unfair for you to not realize that those external forces that you may or may not have any control over, that you're wrestling with subconsciously, that is not in any way indicative of you coming to a conclusion that you're a bad trader because you're going through stress and you're not learning well enough to manage that stress. I'm thankful that God allowed me to go through severe anxiety. My world shrunk down to just my bedroom. And I didn't like when my wife came in. I didn't like when my children knocked on the door. And I didn't want my pets near me. Where can I go? My world shrank down to one room. And that I had to make a change. Because my world started shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And agoraphobia, I didn't want to be around other people. And if you're not careful, you'll do that. You'll go to furthest extremes that you couldn't even imagine you would allow yourself to get to. And it's going to be based on your performance, on something that you didn't properly go into and measure without any emotional stimuli attached to it. No monetary stigma attached to the outcome. Making money, that's the last thing you're worried about right now. You're not worried about the money. You need to wrestle with who you are. What makes you feel scared? What makes you feel empowered? When do you get cocky and arrogant? When do you get doubtful and concerned? Only by backtesting and recording those things are you ever going to really know who you are. Even if you're being successful right now, if you have not been doing that part, you need to start applying that because it'll take you to new levels and leave behind old devils. You're wrestling with things that you choose to hold on to. You don't realize it, but until you journal, you won't recognize them and you won't be able to identify them so that way you can comfortably say, you know what? I've been carrying you all this time, but I'm not doing it anymore. I choose not to hold on to this anymore. And you physically say it out loud. And you say, I'm no longer going to worry about the concerns of my failed relationships in the past. I'm no longer going to be concerned about the other people's opinion about how soon I should have been successful. Because many of you are on their schedule, not your own. And that causes anxiety. You're trying to perform to everybody else's expectations. And these people are fucking nobody. They're nobody. You've never seen them face to face, but you know them by their name on social media. Oh, I hope that person doesn't say something to me today. I go on X and I'm hoping I see all of them come at me today. I love it. I love it. But you aren't equipped to be that way because you don't have your success. You're not rooted in this is a baseline that's grown in extrapolated terms of you're successful with it. You know what you're going to do. You know how you can read price action and nobody's going to shake you. You have confidence that's unshakable. You're an overcomer. Nobody's taking you out of your rhythm and your grind. You're dialed in and you ain't got time for anybody that's a naysayer. If you get away from me, you can't even get my attention. Goodbye. That's the goal, but it doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen. That transition to that level of absolutely dialed in does not happen overnight, but it is achievable. If you knew me back then, what kind of a wreck I was versus right now, totally different. Absolutely night and day. You'd swear it's somebody else. You'd swear it was somebody else. It had to be somebody else, right? So I got so many things that just popped in my head I could go on, and they're really good too. So, but we'll have to defer that to another one. Hopefully, I've given you something to think about today. If anything, hopefully I entertained you, took your mind off your own problems if it's been rough for you or whatever. We spent a little bit of time today. Maybe I made you smile. Maybe I made you laugh. Maybe I pissed you off. Good. That means you care. That means you're engaged. And that's what I want from my audience. Because if you listen to me and you're engaged and you apply a little bit of what I'm teaching you to do, you'll see results. It's always been that way. I've always said, don't believe me because I said so. Don't believe my executions because you can do it too. And once you study it and you see it, you ain't going to listen to anybody else. They're never going to convince you otherwise. It's not a cult. It's not mind control. It's not gatekeeping. It's not me trying to control over you and just be a hateful person out there always trying to stir up trouble. I use that aspect to draw a crowd. Because if I can offend somebody, either directly or indirectly, and I can get their audience to question long enough to come here and listen to me and see, what is this guy going on about? Oh, shit. That's how it works. I don't ever have it advertised. I don't ever have to do any kind of monetized ads on Facebook, YouTube, none of that bullshit. They know me because of word of mouth. I'm a good talker. I'm a good shit talker, and I can walk the walk. And I let everybody have a piece of the pie. I give them just enough to troll me and think they got an opinion about it, and I have enough where the people that really support me would go to war for me. And I'm aiming for both camps to move to the middle and say, you know what? I don't really care about the guy. I'm indifferent to the guy, but his shit really works, and I'm doing well now. That is the outcome. I'm not here for friends and family that like, hey, we're gonna hang out together. I'm here to change your life. That's all I'm here for. That's all I'm here for. And all it takes is your effort and consistently applying it. And if you do that, I am guaranteeing you, you will see changes. It won't happen overnight. You won't be perfect, but you'll gradually move to a level where you'll get more confidence. You'll respect risk the entire time. But percentage-wise, the percentage risk will be the same as you gain more equity and you make more money. But you're never risking any more than that one fixed percent. It needs to be low, really, really low. And when I say start with risking 1/4%, first question comes out of minds of people that listen to me for the first time. Yeah, but I can't make big money like that. Okay, you failed at math. You failed at math. Because if you risk 25% of 1%, 1/4% of whatever your equity is, and you're aiming for 5 to 1, okay? And you can find that set up over time, a dozen, 2 dozen, 3 dozen times over the course of a week if you're in the lower time frames. That stuff compounds quick, real quick. But you can't trade that way right away. It takes time. Different stages and new levels and plateau. You hang around at a level of understanding, and then you gain more understanding. And you gain more understanding. And it takes time. I am able to trade today in a manner that I could not trade when I was 22. When I was 24, I couldn't trade as well as I can trade right now. I had Enigma. I had it in my hands, and I still would doubt. I would wait. I would be like, I need more confirmation. I'm afraid to do this. I'm afraid to do that. And I would put on too many contracts. And the fact that I had that much risk on would scare me out of the trade. I would close the trade. So am I following the system? Absolutely not. But what am I finding? I'm finding where my flaws are. That's what makes me so authoritative. Like I've lived all this stuff. No one's going to teach me anything. I'm unteachable when it comes to trading because I have all of my shit sorted. And because I don't want to hear anybody else's bullshit, I don't have anything broken, so I don't need anybody else's opinion to help me fix anything. If you call that arrogance, if you call that narcissistic, I don't give a shit what you call it. I call it winning. That's me being comfortable in my own skin. I don't need any more outside input. And I've already given you enough in ICT content. All you have to do is dial in and what is it what you want to do? And bloom where you're planted. Don't try to do everything that I've ever taught. Don't try to apply every fucking tool I've ever introduced. But there's a plethora of things that you can, literally, if you want to sample from my whole compendium, you can come up with a model that's uniquely yours. And I've never traded it. Isn't that fascinating? I have so many PD arrays, so many ways to skin the cat, get into a trade. You could literally say, this is my model. And I've had this with 2 people now. This is how I'm applying this information you get. And I'm like, wow. That's it. I've never looked at it that way. And that to me is fascinating. It's fun because I get to see how you brought your own personality.